It's another Just Flying episode. Going to do here at NZWV Waihi Beach and take a morning flight up to NZTH Thames Airfield. Bit of wind there knocking us sideways, 13 knots of it actually. We're away. Yeah, so probably Thames anyway, see how the time is going. Might carry on, but Thames looks like about the right distance for the average length of one of my videos when it's just for fun and I've not got a purpose to recording a flight, such as promoting a brand new airport scenery, like my next video might possibly be doing, just to tease you a little bit. So yeah, my unscheduled absence then. Yeah, the story of that begins late September when I got a bit of an ear infection. And being the stereotype bloke, I thought, yeah, it'll be okay, I'm sure it will get better soon, so didn't bother seeing a doctor or anything like that. And, well, it didn't get better. Yet what happened was it turned into an abscess on the side of my head, which then turned into multiple blood clots moving up the side of my brain. Yeah, those were putting pressure on the brain, and I know that was causing some irrational thoughts, even a few completely delusional ones, and certainly enough to not make me realise that perhaps I might need to see some sort of medical attention here. Anyway, I had a phone call late one evening from my brother, and he must have picked up on something being very wrong with what I was saying or the way I was talking. So he said, "Daz, leave your front door on the latch so it's open and I can get in, and I'll be there first thing in the morning." Then when he did arrive that next morning, apparently he found me lying on top of my bed, totally unresponsive. So that was ambulance, hospital, and I ended up with 4 days in intensive care where I was basically unconscious and don't remember a thing about that. So, yeah, totally lost 4 days of my life. But as my brother has told me since, there was a point where they took him off to a little room to say, just be prepared because there's a chance Darren isn't going to make this. So yeah, there was a chance that I could have died, but apparently I didn't. There's a poem by, I believe, Dylan Thomas about getting older and facing death, where there's a repeated line of rage against the dying of the light. That's kind of become my new motto, because while I was unconscious, I must have been raging quite well. When it comes to having a rage, it seems I might be pretty fucking good at raging. Enough raging to prevent the dying of my light anyway. Yeah, so having got past that, I was transferred up to a normal hospital ward for about 3.5 weeks or something before I got discharged. Although as an outpatient now, the community nurses, as they're called in this country, are showing up 3 times a day at my house to give me intravenous antibiotics. Had another MRI scan last week to check how things are going, so still getting looked after and given treatment, but I think it's going well, and I don't actually feel ill now, no pain or anything, so that's good. Yeah, the only part which will take a while is I spent a significant amount of time in a hospital bed not being able to move very much, so muscles have wasted away, especially with my legs, and I've got to build up all that strength again. I am noticing the improvements in that though, and well, I'm not ready to run a marathon just yet. I can get around quite easily now, and it's all going in the right direction, so I'm happy enough with that. Yeah, the one downside, however, was while I was in hospital they found out I have type 2 diabetes, which means no more chocolate or biscuits or Kentucky Fried Chicken. I am most upset. Tablets and stabbing myself with insulin every morning, yeah, I've got used to that. That's fine, and my blood sugar numbers are great. Not being able to eat half a packet of chocolate digestives in one go, that's just terrible news, especially as I am trying to be good with my diet and not cheat too much now. Well, hardly cheat at all, actually. Now, I'm even getting used to replacing things like fried chips with salad as part of my dinner, and enjoying it too, although if at any point in my previous non-diabetic life, if there would come a time where I would be dipping celery sticks into a pot of hummus, and even liking dipping celery sticks into a pot of hummus, I would have told you to fuck off, but apparently no, dipping celery sticks into a pot of hummus is quite tasty, and I most likely will be doing that again at some point. Yeah, these are the hidden dangers of diabetes. You get to like eating weird and healthy shit, like dipping celery sticks into a pot of hummus. Yeah, so apart from swapping sugar for sweeteners in my coffee, injecting myself with insulin each morning, things are not going too bad. A whole new attitude too, because from now on, if anything starts to go wrong with me, I am calling the doctor this time. But on the other plus side, I lost about 3 stone, 19 kilograms while I was in hospital, so I'm now looking the best I have done in years. Yeah, I'll be honest, I'm not going to recommend following my example of nearly dying as being a good diet plan for most people, but it does seem to have worked for me anyway, so I'm not going to complain too much. Yeah, so that's what's been going on in my life then, but back to normal from an X-Plane and YouTube point of view now, I think, so yeah, there should be more videos coming soon. Still got to finish the Palawan tour. Only about halfway through that, aren't we? Plus, I don't know, maybe a new plane video or two, as I have been considering enlarging the hangar. Yeah, not done too much research, but had a brief look at the Thrandra PC-12, which would fit with my usual kind of flying. But also had a look at some of the short-haul Tollis Airbuses as a complete change. Yeah, my previous sim experience has been with Boeing, predominantly the 737s, so could be interesting to have to learn something completely new to me. Although, whatever airliner, if I do get one of those, I'm sure I won't fly it properly anyway, and I'll treat it as a big general aviation aircraft. Yeah, so any recommendations if you bought something good recently? Yeah, so Thames Airfield just coming up, and they have a nice runway which is pointing almost directly into the wind, which is handy as it's blowing quite a bit. And we'll circle around and use that. The slightly shorter of the runways, so I'm not sure an Airbus 320 could manage it, but if I do buy one of those, rest assured I will try it. I believe Airbus calls its operating mode laws, don't they? Like normal law, alternate law, etc. I wonder if it has a What the bollocks is this guy doing, Law? Yeah, because it may need one if I'm going to be flying. Right, shut up with your landing gear warning. Yes, I know I am going to put the wheels down. Even though you can actually stop in a much shorter distance with the belly landing. It's just then a little harder to taxi to the parking spot afterwards. So yeah, we'll try to not do that today. Get ourselves lined up. Wind is just a few degrees off from our right hand side, so shouldn't really feel any crosswind. Looking okay so far. I don't want any go-arounds today, as I am now daydreaming about my next cup of coffee. That will be my next task right after parking this thing. Yeah, forgot to make a pre-flight coffee to drink on the way. A very bad error on my part. Try not to do that again. Right, come on then. Bollocks. A firm. I think we can call that a firm landing. Nothing seems to be on fire at the moment though, which is always a positive thing. Yeah, not being on fire is never a guarantee in one of my videos, so this is okay. Don't think anything fell off the plane either, so yeah, that will do. And another Just Flying episode successfully completed, I'm going to call that. We'll park just over here on the right. That will do. Lovely.
Do not go gentle into that good night. Old age should burn and rave at close of day. Rage, rage against the dying of the light. The wise men at their end know dark is right. Because their words had forked no lightning, they do not go gentle into that good night. Good men, the last wave by, crying how bright their frail deeds might have danced in a green bay. Rage, rage against the dying of the light. Wild men who caught and sang the sun in flight, and learned too late they grieved it on its way. Do not go gentle into that good night. Grave men near death, who see with blinding sight, blind eyes could blaze like meteors and be gay. Rage, rage against the dying of the light. And you, my father, there on the sad height, curse, bless me now with your fierce tears, I pray. Do not go gentle into that good night. Rage, rage against the dying of the light.